It's the fourth day, and unfortunately yesterday was not very productive, but what I did was I made a bracket, which I will show a little bit later in the video. These lights are fine, however they go a little bit more to the right. So what I'm going to do is I found a way to make that work. I push them in position, and then I'm going to fiberglass this side as much as needed to fill it up, so it will lean against that. And then I will fiberglass the other side and fiberglass this part, and then I'm going to put plastic dip over it, and that should be this side done. It's only connected with one bracket, but it doesn't matter when fiberglass is sitting in place. It's the same on this side. It keeps it in place. See, yes, it moves a tiny bit, but it doesn't move so much that it needs some kind of special bracket. So that's the idea. Also, in case if you haven't noticed, you can see how this went up like that, but if you look on this side, it's pretty smooth. It's a little bit of bend here, which I could fill up to make it more smooth, which I might do actually before I put plastic dip over it, but you can see it's more smooth than the other side, so this will work. Then what I'm going to do is I won't be adjusting that side, and that side actually broke, as you can see there, most likely when I slammed the bonnet. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when that one is done, I'm going to make adjustments. I'm going to make measurements to make sure that that side is final. And when that side is final and I have all the measurements from every single place, I'm going to replicate it to that side so it actually works out a lot better. So that's my plans for today. I'm not going to film all the little bits of fiberglass because you have seen how I do that. However, if you want to see that in the next part or whatever, let me know and I will do it anyway. But that's what I'm going to do now, and just let me show you how I keep it in one place without having 5 hands. Okay, so call me stupid, but the easiest way to actually leave it in place is to put something so it doesn't move. So I use this one to keep the light tilted that way, and then use that one to keep the light down. It doesn't have to be fully down. And then you can see this edge here. Normally I can point the light in a little bit more, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to fiberglass all this so it goes nicely over. Same with that side, so it basically moves up instead of moving the light, because the position as it is now is actually pretty good. So it's better to adjust the fiberglass on this side and make it go up a little bit, and on this side as well, instead of moving the light, which messes with the final fitment and the final way I want it. So I'm going to fiberglass this little piece first, and then when that's dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit thicker on the opposite side, so the back end basically, as you can see, to fill up this gap, and then I'm going to sand it down so it smooths into the light, and that's how I made all the pieces actually. And the same with this, as you can see, it has to go down a tiny bit, which is easy to fix with the fiberglass normally, but when I point this light up a tiny bit, this will go a little bit higher, which normally fixes the problem. And then you can see here I cut a bit too much, but this, since I know the final location and how it's going to sit now, I can actually put something in between fiberglass and then make it all nice and smooth. Same with this side here, and then this little gap over there. So let's start. So I started with the fiberglass and I checked the weather to be sure it stays dry all day. And look at that. Yeah, I knew something was coming, but it just started to spit. So I hope just a few little clouds, then this doesn't matter. However, yeah, it's annoying. So I, as you can see, made the side of the fiberglass. So remember in the previous clip, I remember how it went up. So I started to, this is still a bit wet though, but decided to fill this up all the way to the edge, really. And so what I'm going to do is I have to check what I'm going to do with this side, how I'm going to sand this down. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut here and then here, because I wanted to try to close this gap. So this gap here has to go somewhere there. So basically what I'm doing is filling this up and then cutting this, because I know the light should be correct like this, but I might change it a tiny bit based on the angle, but then this is the final position. So what I can do is make this cut straight, then fiberglass the bottom of it, put some body filler on it, fix this dent over here on that side, and make the lights so the outside flows in a little bit better. But that's the idea behind it, really. So I just have to wait till this fiberglass is dry, cut it, and see how that goes. Now I'm going to cut this line, but it's a bit hard, so I might cut this more straight from here, so I can have this piece of the bonnet instead. So just going to cut and see how it goes. As you can see, I've been sanding down, so the car is green again. However, you see here, I start filling up this dent over there, so I just have to get it dry and then put a little bit more fiberglass on it so it gets all smooth. And then there's a little hole there which I fill up here first, then sand it down and do the back as well, just to be sure. I have this all filled up, which you would say, yeah, but what if the light needs to come out? Well, that's the other thing, because when this is dry, if I crack it loose a little bit, it should stay exactly as it is now. So this goes nice, as you can see, towards the bonnet. It's not fully done, but it has to go there, of course. However, I'm just have a problem with this area over here. Should I just fill it up until it's about there, and then that's filled up, and then make this part of the bonnet, or should I have this and goes there, but that would be a strong construction, or should I cut that and do the bonnet like that, or even better, a bit harder, but if I cut this till about this line and then fill the bonnet up so it follows this line. Anyway, there's a few things to consider. That's why this gap is still there. Just before the rain starts, I just gave a tiny update here, so you can see this is the way I went. So I just filled this up and that should be fine, hopefully. So this is the way I'm going. So right in the end of the day, I washed the car quickly. I'm just going to show you the difference between this side and that side, and I don't mean the location of the thing itself, because that's not that different, but so it's really hard to see, but if you see this shape, right, it goes like that and then it goes this way. And the reason why is because I cut it and then I went towards the light, which is fine, but this broke, but it doesn't matter when it goes flat into there again. However, now look at this side, which I spent 4 days. That was 2 days, that side. This is 4 days of work, sanding, cutting, fiberglassing, body filling, go and start all over till it is as it is. Now look at this line. This is perfect, goes into the top here, it follows this line is here, and it keeps following this line. This flows slowly into that curve, right? The line follows and goes into the bonnet. I haven't finished this part yet, but you can see what I'm doing. It flows slowly into the bonnet. Then same with here, it flows into the light. Same with the bottom, it flows into the light itself. Same with here. I could make this a little bit less steep, but it works with the curve. As you can see here, it goes into here and follows this curve and then it goes up and follows the rest of the body. So that's 4 days of working versus 2 days working. I'm not saying that side is bad, not at all, but the difference, you can even see this here where I did my mistake, but I didn't finish it. You can also see how much this one is to the left, to how much that one is to the right. So that's the final location of the light. Then what I'm going to do, this is all perfect, I don't have to touch this, just need to find something, most likely, so that this goes there and then there, so that it has some kind of base here. And then the other thing is, you can see the location of this panel is different than it was before, when I had the old lights. Originally I had to push it in, now it's actually out and straight. As you can see here, it still follows this curve, so you can see the panel is straight. As you can see there, it's really hard to see, but you can see this panel literally follows the curve, which is correct. So what I'm going to do, and I started here already, is I'm going to fill up this gap about all the way to the back, or as much as possible, so this gap here flows into there. The only thing is that this is a little bit low, so I either fill this up so it flows into there and at the same height, or I'm not sure what to do yet, but based on how the panel sits, I could actually fill this up completely till about here or so, or on that side, and then let it flow off to the right. So it is, so everything is the same height, but then it flows into the side panel, which means that this part, which I already did, but we might make this lower or might make this one a tiny bit higher, depending on, you know, what the end result is going to be. But this gives you an indication about what happens if you spend 4 days on making one light versus 2 days on one light. No matter what, I was happy with this result as it is on that side, but definitely that side looks better. The angles are right, the flow of the lights is fine. Well, not fine, it's perfect actually. So you can see here, it's really hard to see with the fiberglass, so hopefully if I make it black tomorrow, when I start with the body filler, I can actually show off these lines, and then I will see if I'm going to sand down, because it's, well, you don't see that of course, or feel that, but here is, over there is a little bit up, and over here as well, so I might make this a little bit more flat, and then into there. But that's something that the body filler can sort, or the fiberglass. Not sure, I don't want to loosen the strength of how the fiberglass I did, so might be better to work with the body filler and follow the curve until it's correct. Well, it is already correct, but you know, by hand, I would say. So yeah, the video is getting a bit long. Let me know if you comment on this anyway, if you want me to make the next video in landscape, because I expect everyone to watch on the phone. However, if you want me to make it landscape, let me know in the comments, and I will do the next part in landscape, just to make it easier for everyone. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in part number 5.